Hello,
Go.
hello, Nargor. We are here for Bible.
Hello.
We found a new victim. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I really don't care. So I'm a friend of Skyler, so that's all that matters, really.
Wrong.
Yeah, or lies. I don't have friends.
As friendly as it gets with him. So.
This guy is just as people who awkwardly fucking bothers randomly.
But by the way, we're just gonna have a round of applause for our guest because that is the shortest notice guest we've ever had on here.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yes.
We had another guest planned. If the other guest happens to watch this is for you. This is the second time you've ditched me. I take this personally now. fuck you. I bet this guest is way better anyways. Friend of Skydis, yes. As friendly as it gets. Hot. Oh, you should have been there earlier today.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy your time. Oh, we'll make sure he doesn't. Any questions before we get into this?
Not for my part, I think.
Ah, perfect.
I know the basics of what's going to happen, so.
Wonderful.
Ah, perfect. Well, first of all, we need to make sure that Terrace did his job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. Can you sing a part of a song for me? I don't know. I don't know. Can you sing?
Depends who you're asking and depends what song.
Are you physically capable of singing?
Yes.
Okay, then the answer is yes.
Do it.
Yes, he can, but he's not gonna, probably.
Unless you cough up big money.
Oh yeah. Can you read that out for him? Do you have the chat open? Can you read that out?
Yes, I do, and...
In a singy voice.
First
Take your
question, is this Finnish or...
Yes.
What? Okay.
Well, it's not finished. It's not finished until you start it.
Just read it as if it's German. It kind of works.
A fishy song, okay.
Oh.
I literally can't even start that. Yes. That's more like it.
Take your time. We got plenty of time.
Really, out of respect for the Finnish people, I'm not gonna try that.
Fuck every single Finnish person on the planet Earth. Savukala, Hyvekala, Kapakala, Makupala, Itakuita, Iha Nueta? I know what that means. Noita means witch. And I bet Iha means something like I'm. Well, fuck you. I know what Noita means. Go away. Judges 7. And so, Jerubbaal, who is also Gideon, rising in the night, and all the people with him went to the fountain, which is called Harod. Now, the camp of Midian was in the valley to the northern region of the high hill. And the Lord said to Gideon...
Yes, you did.
Yep. Yes, he did.
This is your cue to drink.
Okay.
The Lord saying something to someone, just like, and the Lord said to... It's not possible to keep count of how many times it's been mentioned.
Well, we could just do...
No, it's literally impossible. No singular machine or computing cluster could compute this.
Okay.
Control search and then look up every...
No. Your computer would die. That's not that's not possible. Basically, hearing either Skydis or Terrace speak is the cue. Yeah. There's we added another drinking cue last time. Basically, whenever you don't drink, you have to drink. Whenever you pass out, you have to drink as well.
Games.
Yes, games. Anyways, and the Lord said to Gideon, "The people with you are many, but Midian shall not be delivered into their hands. For then Israel might glory against me and say, I was freed by my own power. Speak to the people and proclaim in the hearing of all, whoever has dread or fear, let him return. And 22,000 of the men from the people withdrew from Mount Gilead and returned, and only 10,000 remained. Question.
How specific?
For then Israel might glory against me. I'm not a native English speaker, so maybe my English is just not good enough, but how do you glory? Glory is not a verb as far as I know.
I think it means something like outshine the Lord and God in heaven. Is that what it means?
I think it just means like win over. Like it will be glorious over you.
Will be glorious over you. That's a great description. Thanks.
Glory hole, anyway.
No.
I always wondered in these ancient texts, is it always an estimation of how many men returned?
No, they actually.
It's a precise count. There was a whole book about it.
There's literally a book that's called the Book of Numbers, where they went ahead and counted. Well, they counted all the men that are capable of going to war. So all the men that are within a certain age range, I guess, and probably have functional limbs and all that.
We even made a pie chart.
Oh yeah, we literally did. We have a pie chart of the distribution of the tribes of the sons of Israel.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very useful. I'm sure. We're productive, I promise.
Yeah.
All right, and only 10,000 remain. And the Lord said to Gideon, because this Bible is so well written, if you gave this to an English teacher and let them grade it, like how poorly do you think it would be graded? Paris?
Like a 3 out of 10.
That's optimistic, because there's so much repetition and like always the same phrasing, and remember the literally copy-pasted passage in the previous thing.
However, no one in their sane mind could come up with this incredible quantity of bullshit.
It is creative. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, and the Lord said to Gideon, the people are still too many. Wait, what? Lead them to the waters, and there I will test them. And those about whom I tell you that he may go with you, let him go. And he whom I shall forbid to go, let him return. Wait, so the Lord is literally like, you're too many people. I'm just gonna arbitrarily decide, okay, you get to go, you have to stay, and you're left behind and die. You get to go, you're good, you stay behind, you die. Like, you know what this is? This is basically natural selection, but by the Lord, so I guess it's divine selection.
So wait, so he sent them up a mountain, and then they came back down as like a test. But then too many passed the test, so he's like, hold on, let me knock out a few more. Here's a second test.
I don't know. Maybe he realized, well, the Promised Land only has that many places for people. You know, that it only has that many slots. The server is filled up already, and they gotta kick out a few. I don't know. This is. And when the people had descended to the waters, the Lord said to Gideon, "Whoever will lap the water with the tongue, as dogs usually lap, you shall separate them by themselves. Then those who will drink by bending their knees shall be on the other side." So they're literally going down a mountain to the water, and then those who drink like dogs go on one side, and those who bend their knees go to the other side.
Don't you have to bend your knees either way?
Is this like one of those things that like one half of the population wipes standing, the other wipes sitting, and neither knows the other exists?
No. This is like one half of the population is about to be wiped, and the other one is not about to be wiped, and neither of them knows.
There we go, Nagar. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yes, Naga, wiped standing. That is in fact a thing. Hold on, let me demonstrate, right? This off to a great start. This is a loaded chapter already.
Yeah.
And so the number of those who had left the water, bringing it with the hand to the mouth, was 300 men. And all the remainder of the multitude drank by bending the knee. And the large...
Just the one.
Second, wait a second. Where is that? Where did he mention the group where they are drinking from the hand to mouth?
Yes, that is the same as like lapping like a dog, because dogs use their hands. Have you never seen a dog drink?
That's a good question. Yes.
This is the Bible. You can't hold it to such high standards. It is just that poorly written. Like, this is... I know exactly what you're talking about, and you're right, but just roll with it. That's what we've been doing for 28 episodes now.
See, if you read a part of the Bible and you don't understand it, then by all means, it was by design.
It's
up to interpretation. I get it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be obscure and ambiguous, so you can be like, oh, this is oh my god, this is like, oh, what could this mean? Somebody really smart must have written this, and then it turns out maybe not. But anyways, and the Lord said to Gideon,
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
by the 300 men who leapt the water, I will free you, and I will deliver Midian into your hand. But let all the remainder of the multitude return to their place. Well, return to their place. So 300 of them are like, they get to move forward and conquer Midian, and the rest just goes back to the promised land that they already had, which there's a few plot holes there already, but let's not go into that again. Okay, so the other ones just go back home, basically, and the 300 get new territory.
I got a question.
I think. I have many questions, but go ahead.
Hey, Denaxor.
Yes.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking Cuba Libre. That's a standard cocktail mix. Just Coke with rum.
Nice.
Yes.
I appreciate that. That's good.
Yes.
And
I
so,
do too. It tastes great.
You get 4 points.
what can you do with the points?
Why are you asking unnecessary questions? Just move on.
Can you trade them in for a souvenir?
I decide what happens with the points, okay?
True, you can buy games. Oh, the sing! Holy shit, that was nice one, Nago. And so, taking food and trumpets. Ah, yes, trumpets, very important. In accord with their number. So they took 300 trumpets and also 300 food. He instructed all the rest of the multitude to go back to their tents. And with the 300 men, he gave himself to the conflict. Now, the camp of Midian was below, in the valley. And the same night, the Lord said to him, "Rise up and descend into the camp, for I have delivered them into your hand. But if you dread to go alone, let your servant Purah descend with you. And when you will hear what they are saying, then your hands will be strengthened, and you will descend more confidently to the camp of the enemy." Hello, cat peasant. You're late. I mean, so was I, but you're late, so screw you. Therefore, he descended with his servant Purah. Purah? Sure, Puri. Let's go with Puri. With his servant Puri.
Into the platypus.
Shh. Into a portion of the camp where there was a watch of armed men. Wait, how they had watches back then?
Yes.
How do you make a watch of armed men? Do you like dismember them and then wrap them around your arm?
Yes.
But Midian and Amalek and all the Estonian peoples lay spread out in the valley like a multitude of locusts. Their camels, too, were innumerable, like the sand that lies on the shore of the sea. And when Gideon had arrived, someone told his neighbor in a dream. And he related what he had seen in this way. "I saw a dream, and it seemed to be as if bread baked under ashes from rolled barley descended into the camp of Midian."
I fucking love bread.
Literally just a fucking loaf of bread rolling down the hill. What the fuck?
I guess we got a thumbnail later.
Maybe you should take notes. Hold on, I need to read this again. "I saw a dream, and it seemed to me as if bread, baked blah blah blah, descended into the camp of Midian."
Hey Nargon. I got a bread maker and I keep making my own bread. It's fucking great.
It is the best. Fresh, still warm rye bread with butter on it. Some creamy salmon soup side. I sometimes make my own bread.
I made paprika bread.
I'm sure you read up on the recipes.
Wow.
Is it time to drink? I think yes.
If you're hearing Skytus' voice, then yeah.
If you have to ask, the answer is always yes. There's literally a rule. Literally, there is a rule. You can go back. You'd have to listen to all of them because I don't remember when we established it. But if in doubt, drink.
Yeah, that's that rule right there is a lifesaver, by the way. It makes sure you're drunk.
And whenever it arrived at a tent, it struck it and overturned it and utterly leveled it to the ground.
How big was that bread?
This is like the perfect idea for like a game. If you want to make a biblically accurate game, you just have a game where you're literally a loaf of bread destroying tents.
just make a game called the biblically accurate loaf of bread.
No, you're gonna make a game and you call it I am biblically accurate bread. It functions very similarly to I am bread, but it's biblically accurate.
It's like one of those games where you're like got a snowball that's going down a hill that's picking up things and growing bigger, but it's a loaf of bread.
Me and my bread are Mari. He to whom he spoke responded, "There is nothing else but the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel." For the Lord had delivered Midian into his hands with their entire camp. And when Gideon had heard the dream and its interpretation, he worshipped. He just worshipped. No, nobody in particular. He just worshipped.
Maybe he worshipped the bread.
Understandable. Very understandable. And he returned to the camp of Israel, and he said, "Rise up, for the Lord has..."
Bread.
The Lord has delivered bread.
For the Lord has delivered the camp of Midian into our hands.
The bread rised up. He was speaking to the bread.
And he divided the 300 men into 3 parts. Wait, what? He just sliced them up? And he gave trumpets and empty pitchers and lamps for the middle of the pitchers into their hands. And he said to them, "What you will see me do, do the same. I will enter a portion of the camp, and what I do, you shall follow." And when
the bread.
Yeah, you have the leader bread and you have the follower bread. That's. Did you not pay attention in school, in religion class? That's how the Bible went down. A bunch of bread invaded the earth and took over. And then it went moldy, and then humans got the upper hand. The end. Bible bread is unleavened. It can't rise up.
Well, maybe he was just trying to convince it to rise up.
When the trumpet in my hand blares out, you also shall sound the trumpets on every side of the camp and shout together to the Lord and to Gideon. And Gideon and the 300 men who were with him entered a portion of the camp at the beginning of the watch in the middle of the night. And when the guards were alerted, they began to sound the trumpets and to clap the pitchers against one another. And when they had sounded their trumpets...
Clap them cheeks.
No, that's later. That's their celebration after they're done. And when they had sounded their trumpets in 3 places around the camp and had broken their water pitchers, they held the lamps in their left hands and sounded the trumpets in their right hands. And they cried out, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon!" And each one was standing in his place throughout the camp of the enemies. And so the entire camp was in confusion. Understandable. Very understandable. And they fled away, waddle, 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 wailing and crying out. And the 300 men nevertheless continued sounding the trumpets. The Lord sent the sword into the entire camp, and they maimed and cut down one another, fleeing as far as Beth Shitta and the base of Abel Meholah and into Beth. Sorry, I just
Those names are literally getting worse.
I'm just summoning a demon real quick, don't mind me. But the man of
But the Nox was right here.
But the men of Israel pursued Midian, shouting from Naphtali and Asher, and from all of Manasseh. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all of Mount Ephraim, saying, "Descend to meet Midian, and occupy the waters ahead of them, as far as Beth Barah and the Jordan." And all of Ephraim cried out, and they occupied the waters ahead of them, from the Jordan even to Beth Barah. And having apprehended 2 men of Midian, Oreb and Zeb, they put Oreb to death, with 1 F, at the rock of Oreb, and truly Zeb at the winepress of Zeb. And they pursued Midian, carrying the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon across the waters of the Jordan. I thought that was like, and they pursued Midian carrying the heads, like just holding it up. Ah, see what I did to your brothers. Oh, okay, well they're making some good progress on their conquering. Gotta give him that. All right, we gotta check that Terrace is doing his job. That is, in fact, one more. That is 8. Good job, Terrace.
You're welcome.
Judges 8. And the men of Ephraim said to him, "What is this that you wanted to do, so that you would not call us when you went to fight against Midian?" And they rebuked him strongly and came close to using violence. And he responded to them, "But what could I have done that would be so great as what you have done? Is not one bunch of grapes of Ephraim better than the vintages of Abiezer? The Lord has delivered into your hands the leaders of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. What could I have done that would be so great as what you have done?" And when he had said this, their spirit, which was swelling up against him, was quieted. And when Gideon had arrived at the Jordan, he crossed over it with 300 men, the 300 men who were with him. And they were so weary that they were unable to pursue those who were fleeing. And he said to the men of Succoth, "I beg you, give bread to the people who are with me, for they are greatly weakened, so that we may be able to pursue Zebah and Zalmunna, the kings of Midian."
Give bread. That's the yeast you can do.
The leaders. What?
Quick question. Where does it say that Oreb and Zeb are, what does it say, leaders of Midian?
Yeah. Well,
Again, just out of context.
Wait, what's the
So
question?
apparently they just have apprehended 2 people, that Oreb and Zeb, and then they later proclaimed that they were apparently leaders of the Midians. Like out of nowhere, I guess.
I think they might have been mentioned before, but honestly, at this point, we've had so many names that I stopped trying to keep track.
That's another thing the Bible does randomly. It's go like, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's very important plot character who's very high up and important. Oh yeah, he's important now. You never heard of him before, but now he's important."
Like, you've seen how long a chapter he is. We read through Judges 7. That's one chapter, okay? We had a character that was introduced at the less than the last quarter of the chapter. He was introduced as the main antagonist and then died. Why was he even introduced? Nobody knows. Welcome to the Bible. You can't make this up. I mean, somebody can, but you can't.
The more you know.
Yeah.
More like the more you name. The leaders of Succoth answered, "Perhaps the palms of the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna are in your hands. And for this reason you request that we give bread to your army." And he said to them, "So then, when the Lord will have delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into my hands, I will thresh your flesh with the thorns and briars of the desert." Is that a threat? Am I understanding this correctly?
It's not a threat, that's a promise.
Fair. This is not the promised land, this is the promised end. And going up from there, he arrived at Penuel, and he spoke to the men of that place similarly. And they also answered him, just as the men of Suckoff had answered. And so he said to them also, when I will have returned as a victor in peace, I will destroy this tower. Yeah, this tower. I mean, everybody knows about the tower, right?
Yeah, this specific tower.
Yeah, right, Denaxor, you know about the tower, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You strike me as an intellectual. You would know about the tower. Everybody knows about the tower. Now Ziba and Zalmunna were resting with their entire army, for 15,000 men were left out of all the troops of the Estonian people, and 120,000 warriors that drew the sword had been cut down. And Gideon ascended by way of those who were dwelling in tents to the Estonian part of Noba and Jogbeha. And he struck the camp of the enemies, who were confident and were suspecting nothing adverse. And Ziba and Zalmunna fled. And Gideon pursued and overtook them, sending their entire army into confusion. Wait, so Ziba and Zalmunna are running away from Gideon, and the Gideon runs after them, overtakes them, so runs in front of them, and then they're like, oh, how did he do that? Or how does he...
They just run past them, like, on your left, and they keep running.
I mean, that would put me into confusion, so understandable. Hold on. But to be fair, I am in constant confusion reading this entire thing, so...
It's been in a constant state of confusion ever since we started.
True. And returning from the war before sunrise, he took a boy from among the men of Suckoff, and he asked him the names of the leader and elders of Suckoff. And he described 77 men. And he went to Suckoff. I'm just gonna stop right there.
Roll credits.
And he went to Suckoff and he said to them, behold, Ziba and Zalmunna, over whom you rebuked me, saying, perhaps the hands of Ziba and Zalmunna are in your hands, and for this reason you request that we give bread to men who are languishing and weakened. Therefore, he took the elders of the city, and, using the thorns and briars of the desert, he threshed them with these, and he cut the men of Suckoff to pieces. He also overturned the tower of Penuel, and he killed the men of that city. And he said to Ziba and Zalmunna, what kind of men were those whom you killed at Tabor? And they responded, they were like you, and one of them was like the son of a king. He answered them, they were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As the Lord lives, if you had preserved them, I would not kill you. And he said to Jether, yes, Jether, I know who that is. I'm paying attention. And he said to Jether, his firstborn son, okay, never mind. Rise up and put them to death, with one F. But he did not draw his sword, for he was afraid, being still a boy. And Ziba and Zalmunna said, you should rise up and rush against us, for the strength of a man is in accord with his age. Gideon rose up, and he killed Ziba and Zalmunna, and he took the ornaments and studs, with which the necks of the royal camels are usually adorned. And all the men of Israel said to Gideon, you should rule over us, and your son, and your son's son, for you freed us from the hand of Midian. Oh, they are submissive. And I guess we're about to see if they're also breedable. And he said to them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my son rule over you. Instead, the Lord shall rule over you. And he said to them, I petition one request from you. Give me the earrings from your spoils. For the Ishmaelites were accustomed to wear gold earrings. They responded, we are very willing to give them. And spreading a cloak on the ground, they cast upon it the earrings from the spoils. And the weight of the earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold. Aside from the ornaments and necklaces and purple garments with which the kings of Midian were accustomed to use, and aside from the gold chains on the camels. Just imagining like a gangster camel that has like gold necklaces and everything. Like a gangster rapper, but it's a fucking camel. There we go, thumbnail idea.
Does he got like a backwards cap as well?
Of course. I mean, it's a thug camel.
Nice.
And Gideon made an effort. That's not how you spell effort. And Gideon made an effort from these. And he kept it in his city, Ophrah. You still haven't fixed Terrace. You did not do your job.
No, I didn't.
And all of Israel committed fornication with it. Wait, what?
With the effort?
Yes.
Very nice.
Gideon made an effort.
Was the effortless?
And all of Israel committed fornication with it. And it became a ruin to Gideon and to all his house. So they just fucked him to ruin? Not figuratively, but literally?
Well, that's a lot of sinners.
What the hell? But Midian was humbled before the sons of Israel. Neither were they able any longer to lift up their necks. But the land rested for 40 years while Gideon presided. And so Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, went and lived in his own house. And he had 70 sons who went forth from his own thigh. For he had many wives. Sons. But his concubine, whom he had in Shechem, bore him a son named Abimelech. Didn't we have an Abimelech before? That name seems familiar, like when we were still doing Family Tree. Yeah, okay, well. Just reusing names. Creative. And Gideon, the son of Joash, died in a good old age. And he was buried in the sepulchre of his daddy at
We're gonna know what age? Just good old age?
What age? No, he was not electrified. He died in a good old age. Not in. Like he died back then, you know, in the good old days. He didn't die in the modern age.
I'm done already.
And he was buried in the sepulchre of his daddy at Ophrah of the family of Ezri. But after Gideon died, the sons of Israel turned away, and they committed fornication with the Baals. And they struck a covenant with Baal so that he would be their skytus. And they did not remember the Lord their skytus, who rescued them from the hands of all their enemies on all sides. Neither did they show mercy to the house of Jerubbaal Gideon in accord with all the good that he had done for Israel. Is this just gonna keep repeating itself?
Yes.
They're just gonna turn their backs to the real OG Skytus, and then he's gonna be upset. He will send plagues and whatever upon them and make them suffer, and then they're like, oh no, please have mercy. And then they'll get mercy, and then they'll be fine for 40 years again, and then they'll do it again. Risky click of the day?
It's not very risky.
Anything you link is risky. What? Am I nice website?
Just a crouton.
Oh.
Okay.
That's it. Just a singular crouton.
So, just to summarize that chapter, so he basically killed an entire army, fucked over their elders and leaders. Then he went back and got fucked himself after he had 70 children.
Yeah, but hold on. There was something like the land rested for 40 years, aka there were no wars. There was like peace. So
okay,
they killed the enemy army. They wiped them out. Then they had 40 years of, like, I guess just chill time. Then he died of old age, and then everybody was like, "Oh well, he's gone. I guess we'll just be worshipping other guys again."
Yeah.
But we've had that a few times before. They never learn.
No.
All right.
So when are we getting Flood 2.0?
Being redirected. There we go. Oh, now it's in 2 lines. Huh. Interesting. I like the variety, Terrace. Appreciate it.
But you didn't expect that.
I did not. I was hoping for a very long and stretched out image at the very end.
No, sounds like you're judging.
Judges 9. Now Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem to his maternal brothers, and he spoke to them and to all the relatives of the house of his maternal granddaddy, saying, "Speak to all the men of Shechem, which is better for you, that 70 men, all the sons of Jerubbaal, should rule over you, or that one man should rule over you." And consider also that I am your bone and your flesh. And his paternal brothers spoke about him to all the men of Shechem, all these words, and they inclined their hearts after Abimelech, saying, He is our brother. And they gave to him the weight of 70 silver coins from the shrine of Baal Berith. With this, he hired himself indigent and wandering men, and they followed him. And he went to his daddy's house in Oprah, and he killed his brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal, 70 men upon one stone.
Wow.
Wait, why?
Impressive.
What?
just fuck them in particular.
Yeah, so basically the bastard son is like, yo, give me some cash, and then he hired some mercenaries.
No, he's like, what's better, if one person rules over you or 70? And then they spread the word, and then he gets money for whatever reason? Because he's a brother, I guess, and then he's like, you paid me money, now you're going to die. I don't know. Welcome to the Bible, kid.
Just 70 silver coins, you could have given me more.
Yeah, maybe he was upset. Maybe this was an insult. And there remained only Joatham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, and he was in hiding. Then all the men of Shechem gathered together, and all the families of the city of Millo, and they went and appointed Abimelech as king, beside the oak that stood at Shechem. When this had been reported to Jotham, he went and stood at the top of Mount Gerizim. And lifting up his voice, he cried out and said, Listen to me, men of Shechem, so that Skytis may listen to you. The trees went to anoint a king over themselves. Ah, yes, the trees. It's always the damn trees. They're turning the water sweet.
The trees are speaking Vietnamese.
Vietnam trees, more like. Got 'em. And they said to the olive tree, Reign over us. Yeah, I'm sure I think the old man is a little delusional. Old man yells at cloud. Ah, yes, your folk went like, trees, rule over us. And then they went to one specific olive tree and said, Reign over us. That's exactly how it went down, yes.
Well, maybe there's someone in a tree they can't see and they're about to get a golden shower.
Ah, of course, yeah. And it responded. Ah, yes, the tree responded. The plot thickens. How could I abandon my fatness? Hold on. The trees went to anoint a king over themselves, and they said to the olive tree, Ran over us. So why is he referring to his folk as trees? And it responded, How could I abandon my fatness, which both Skytises and men make use of, and depart to be promoted among trees? And the trees said to the fig tree,
What the fuck's going on?
I don't know, but I need a drink.
Yes, no, this is not gonna be enough alcohol.
Are the trees fighting a civil war? What the fuck is going on?
Okay, here's the thing. You seem to be confused. There's only one way to solve this confusion.
Biblically accurate Vietnam.
Drink. Drink until you're not confused anymore.
Yeah, if you keep drinking, it'll make sense at some point.
What the fuck? And the trees...
This is currently the up runner for the fucking thumbnail.
Oh, there's a lot of thumbnail material on this one. You know, the previous ones were a little light, but holy shit, this is packed. You chose a good episode to be on here. Holy shit.
Yes.
And the tree said to the fig tree, Come and accept royal power over us. And it responded to them, How can I have...
What?
Oh my god, Terrence, you're not ready. And it responded to them, How could I abandon my sweetness? To give you some context, at the very beginning, in like the first or second book, this is like the seventh or so we're at, they put trees in the water because the water was too salty, and then Skytis was like, Here, take these trees and put them in the water. They put the trees in the water, and then the water was sweet. The trees literally turned the water sweet. And now it's like, how could I abandon my sweetness and my very sweet fruits and depart to be promoted among the other trees? And the tree said to the vine, "Come and reign over us." And it responded to them, "How could I abandon my vine, which gives joy to Skytus and men, and be promoted among the other trees?" Wait, hold on. Am I understanding this correctly? All the trees are going to the olive tree. Reign over us. Olive tree be like, "Nah, dog." And then they went to the fig tree. Reign over us. Nah. And then they went to the next tree. And now they went to the vine tree. You want to reign over us? No.
This is literal proof. Fucking checkmate, vegans.
Oh my fucking god. And all the trees said to the bramble, "Come and reign over us." And it responded to them, "If truly you would appoint me as king, come and rest under my shadow. But if you are not willing, let fire go forth from the bramble, and let it devour the cedars of Lebanon." What?
It's plant war, you will understand.
Wait, is the bramble saying, "Okay, if you really want me to rule you, stand in my shadow? If not,
Yes.
let fire go forth from the bramble. If not, set me on fire? And let the fire devour the cedars, whatever, of Lebanon?"
Yes.
What the fuck? So now, if you are upright and without sin in appointing Abimelech as a king over you, and if you have acted well with Jerubbaal and with his house, and if you have repaid, in turn, the benefits of him who fought on your behalf, and who gave his life to danger, so that he might rescue you from the hands of Midian, though you have now risen up against my daddy's house, and have killed his sons, 70 men upon one stone, and have appointed Abimelech, the son of his handmaid, as the king over the inhabitants of Shechem, since he is your brother. If therefore you are upright and have acted without fault with Jerubbaal and his house, then you should rejoice on this day in Abimelech, and he should rejoice in you. Well, that was a sentence and a half.
Yeah, it was, and you read it abnormally quickly. Made it worse.
Yeah, you're so welcome. But if you have acted perversely, may fire go forth from him, and consume the inhabitants of Shechem and the town of Millo. And may fire go forth from the men of Shechem and from the town of Millo, and devour Abimelech. And when he had said these things, he fled, and went away to Beer.
Same.
That's what it says. I'm not mispronouncing it. It literally says, "and went away to Beer."
Yes, it does.
Hold. You know what? This is
Mine's
okay.
you're gonna be disappointed, I guess.
And he lived in that place out of fear of Abimelech, his brother. And so Abimelech reigned over Israel for 3 years. And the Lord put a very grievous spirit between Abimelech and the inhabitants of Shechem, who began to detest him, and to place blame for the crime of the killing of the 70 sons of Jerubbaal, and for the shedding of their blood upon Abimelech, their brother, and upon the rest of the leaders of the Shechemites who assisted him. And they stationed an ambush against him at the summit of the mountains. And while they were waiting for his arrival, they committed robberies, taking spoils from those passing by. And this was reported to Abimelech. Now Gaal, the son of Ebed, went with his brothers, and crossed over to Shechem. And the inhabitants of Shechem, uplifted by his arrival, departed into the fields, laying waste to the vineyards, rip wine, and trampling the grapes. What?
You're so welcome.
You need a better job.
I am comedy.
And while singing and dancing, they entered into the shrine of their Skytus. And while feastonioning and drinking, they cursed Abimelech.
Sick. Ah.
And Gaal, the son of Ebed, cried out, "Who is Abimelech, and what is Shechem, that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Jerubbaal, who has appointed Zebul, his servant, as ruler over the men of Hamor, the deity of Shechem? Why then should we serve him? I wish that someone would set this people under my hand, so that I might take away from Abimelech So that I might take away Abimelech from their midst." And it was told to Abimelech, "Gather the multitude of an army and approach." For Zebul, the ruler of the city, upon hearing the words of Gaal, the son of Ebed, became very angry. Would you like to talk about it?
No.
And he sent messengers secretly to Abimelech, saying, Behold, Gael, the son of Ebed, has arrived at Shechem with his brothers, and he has set the city against you. And so, rise up in the night with the people who are with you, and lie hidden in the field. And at first light in the morning, as the sun is rising, rush upon the city. And when he goes out against you with his people, do to him what you were able to do. What you are able to do. Okay, so basically, you're on your own? Before it was always like, and then he will be delivered into your hands. So now it's just like, do what you can. Do your best. And so Abimelech rose up with all his army by night, and he set ambushes near Shechem in 4 places. And Gael, the son of Ebed, in case you forgot, it's not like we mentioned him like 20 times by now, went out, and he stood at the entrance of the gate of the city. Then Abimelech rose up, and all the army with him, from the places of the ambushes. And when Gael had seen the people, he said to Zebul, Behold, wait, goddammit. Behold. A multitude is descending from the mountains. And he responded to him, You are seeing the shadows of the mountains as if they were the heads of men. And so you are being deceived by this error. And again, Gael said, Behold. A people is descending from the middle of the land, and one company is arriving by the way that looks toward the oak. And Zebul said to him, Where is your mouth now, with which you said, Who is Abimelech that we should serve him? Is this not the people that you were despising? Go out and fight against him. Therefore, Gael went out with the people of Shechem, watching, and he fought against Abimelech, who pursued him, fleeing, and drove him into the city. And many were cut down on his side, even to the gate of the city. And Abimelech made camp at Arumah. But Zebul expelled Gael and his companions from the city, and he would not permit them to remain in it. Therefore, on the following day, the people departed into the field. And when this had been reported to Abimelech, he took his army and divided into 3 companies, and he placed ambushes in the fields. And seeing that the people had departed from the city, he rose up and rushed upon them, along with his own company, assaulting and besieging the city. But the 2 other companies pursued the enemies scattered in the field. What is it?
I swear to God, if you do that, turn that one into an emote. Damn it, you already did.
Yeah. Where it is.
Now Abimelech assaulted the city all that day, and he seized it, and he killed its inhabitants, and he destroyed it, so much so that he scattered salt in it. Wait, what?
Same.
And when those living in the tower of Shechem had heard about this, they entered the temple of their Skytis, Berith, where they had formed a covenant with it. And it was because of this that the place had taken its name, and it was greatly fortified. Abimelech, also hearing that the men of the tower of Shechem had joined together, ascended to Mount Zalmon, and with all his people, and taking an axe, he cut down the branch of a tree. And laying it on his shoulder and carrying it, he said to his companions, What you see me do, you must do quickly. And so, eagerly cutting down branches from the tree, they followed their leader. And surrounding the fortified place, they set it on fire. And so it happened that by smoke and fire, 1,000 persons died, men and women together, the occupants of the tower of Shechem. Why did they put branches on their back?
To carry them to the fire.
Yes.
Ah, okay, so it's just implied. All right, then. Fair enough. Then Abimelech, setting out from there, arrived at the town of Thebes. That's
Same.
with a Z, isn't it? I'm confused. Which he surrounded and besieged with his army. Now there was, in the midst of the city, a high tower, to which men and women were fleeing together, with all the leaders of the city. And, having very strongly sealed the gate, they were standing on the roof of the tower to defend themselves. And Abimelech, drawing near the tower, fought valiantly. And approaching the gate, he strove to set it on fire. And behold, one woman, throwing a fragment of a millstone from above, struck the head of Abimelech and broke his skull.
That's convenient.
And he quickly called to his armor-bearer and said to him, Draw your sword and strike me, otherwise it may be said that I was slain by a woman.
Fucking sexist.
Interesting.
And doing as he was ordered, he killed him. And when he was dead, all those of Israel who were with him returned to their homes. And so did Skytis repay the evil that Abimelech had done against his daddy by killing his 70 brothers. The Shechemites also were given retribution for what they had done, and the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal, fell upon them. As if it fucking matters who you die to, you're fucking dead. He's just...
So basically he went on a rampage against some guys who said that he sucks. And after that he got killed because he killed his brothers, and the guys who rebelled against him died as well because they were worshipping another god.
For some
Yeah,
reason,
it sounds like you got it.
For some reason, he killed all his brothers, and then obviously they were angry, so they had a big battle, and then eventually he died, and then karma. That's really all you need to know.
So
I don't even know either. Don't ask.
Skytis basically killed two birds with one stone by killing the heretics and...
No. You misunderstood.
I did?
Abimelech was killed with one stone. A millstone, more specifically.
Interesting.
Judges 10. After Abimelech, a leader rose up in Israel, Tola, the son of Pur, the paternal uncle of Abimelech, a man of Issachar who lived in Shamir on Mount Ephraim. And he judged Israel for 23 years, and he died and was buried at Shamir. Hey, remember when we talked about new character introduced and he's gone?
Yeah.
How many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Literally 5 lines.
Must have been very important then.
After him succeeded Jair, a Gileadite who judged Israel for 22 years, having 30 sons sitting upon 30 young donkeys, and who were leaders of 30 cities, which from his name were called Havoth Jair. That is, the towns of Jair, even to the present day, in the land of Gilead. And Jair died, and he was buried in the place which is called Camel.
I'm starting to see a theme.
Yeah, it's just fucking filler content. Oh wait, we still need a few more lines. New character that ruled for a few years. There you go. But the sons of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, joining new sins to old, and they served idols, the Baals and Ashtaroth, and the Skytises of Syria and Sidon, and of Moab, and the sons of Ammon, and the Philistines. And they abandoned the Lord, and they did not worship him. And the Lord, becoming very angry against them, delivered them into the hands of the Philistines and the sons of Ammon. And they were afflicted and vehemently oppressed for 18 years. All who were living beyond the Jordan in the land of the Amorite, which is in Gilead, to such a great extent that the sons of Ammon, crossing over the Jordan, laid waste to Judah and Benjamin and Ephraim. And Israel was exceedingly afflicted. Yeah, for the how manyth time now?
Yeah.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? This is like unironically the 5th or 6th time that's just, oh, well, their old leader died and they go back to sinning and it's the same shit again. They're repressed and they cry for help. And crying out to the Lord, they said, "We have sinned against you, for we have forsaken the Lord our Skytis, and we have served the Baals." And the Lord said to them,
Oh, yes, he did.
"Did not the Egyptians and the Amorites and the sons of Ammon and the Philistines and also the Sidonians and Amalek and Canaan oppress you? And so you cried out to me, and I rescued you from their hand. And yet you have forsaken me, and you have worshipped foreign Skytises. For this reason I will not continue to free you anymore." We broke the cycle, let's go! "Go and call upon the Skytises whom you have chosen. Let them free you in the time of anguish." And the sons of Israel said to the Lord, "We have sinned. You may repay us in whatever way pleases you. Yet free us now." And saying these things, they cast out all the idols of the foreign Skytises from their regions, and they served the Lord Skytis. And he was touched by their miseries. And
Touching.
he was touching them as well, but that's for a later book. And then the sons of Ammon, shouting out together, pitched their tents in Gilead. And the sons of Israel gathered together against them, and they made camp at Mizpah. And the leaders of Gilead said to one another, whoever among us will be the first to begin to contend against the sons of Ammon, he shall be the leader of the people of Gilead. So it's the same shit again. The Lord has mercy once again, and now they just free themselves again. It's just very, very imaginative and creative writing. Literally just...
And before he gets betrayed again. Like...
No.
No
They
way.
learned the lesson. That wouldn't happen. Oh yeah, we gotta check. Make sure that Terrace is doing his job. Fuck your redirect notice. Go away. Yes. Judges 11. At that time there was a Gileadite, Jephthah, a very strong man and a fighter, the son of a kept woman, and he was born of Gilead. Oh really? A Gileadite was born of Gilead? No. Wait. So are the tribes named after the people that whose offsprings they are? Oh my god, that's... Holy shit, I never realized that. Thanks, Bible. Now Gilead had a wife, from whom he received sons. She just mails him sons, like, here, have a son. And they, after growing up, cast out Jephthah, saying, you cannot inherit the house of our daddies because you were born of another mother. And so, fleeing and avoiding them, he lived in the land of Tob. Topkek. And men who were indigent, how the fuck do you pronounce that?
Pronounce what?
Your mom. And men who were indigent, right? Indigent. I think it's that. And men who were indigent and robbers joined with him, and they followed him as their leader. In those days the sons of Ammon fought against Israel, and being steadfastly attacked, the elders of Gilead traveled so that they might obtain for their assistance from Jephthah from the land of Tob. And they said to him, come and be our leader, and fight against the sons of Ammon. But he answered them, are you not the ones who hated me, and who cast me out of my daddy's house? And yet, now you come to me, compelled by necessity. And the leaders of Gilead said to Jephthah, but it is due to this necessity that we have approached you now, so that you may set out with us, and fight against the sons of Ammon, and be commander over all who live in Gilead.
Jephthah, not an explanation.
I mean, better than no explanation, I guess.
Yeah, you need me now, so you want me back. And they say, yes, we need you now, so come back.
Yeah.
What the
At least they're honest.
Yeah.
Jephthah also said to them, if you have come to me so that I may fight for you against the sons of Ammon, and if the Lord will deliver them into my hands, will I truly be your leader? They answered him, the Lord who hears these things is himself the mediator and the witness that we shall do what we have promised. And so Jephthah went with the leaders of Gilead, and all the people made him their leader. And Jephthah spoke all his words in the sight of the Lord at Mizpah. And he sent messengers to the king of the sons of Ammon, who said on his behalf, what is there between you and me, that you would approach against me, so that you might lay waste to my to my land, for fuck's sake. So that you might lay waste to my land. And he responded to them, it is because Israel took my land when he ascended from Egypt, from the parts of Arnon, as far as the Jabbok and the Jordan. Now therefore, restore these to me with peace. Fair? They did take all the land?
In pieces.
And Jephthah again commissioned them, and he ordered them to say to the king of Ammon, Jephthah says this. Yes, it's very important that you include that Jephthah says this. Thanks. Israel
so it's immersion. It's like you're receiving the...
This is not immersion, this is an emergency.
Fuck off.
Jephthah says this: Israel did not take the land of Moab, nor the land of the sons of Ammon. But when they ascended together from Egypt, he walked through the desert as far as the Red Sea, and he went into Kadesh. And he sent messengers to the kings of Edom, saying, Permit me to pass through your land. But he was not willing to agree to this petition. Likewise, he sent to the king of Moab, who also refused to offer him passage. And so he delayed in Kadesh, and he circled around the site of the land of Edom and the land of Moab. And he arrived opposite the Estonian region of the land of Moab, and he made camp across the Arnon. But he was not willing to enter the borders of Moab. Of course, Arnon is the border of the land of Moab. And so Israel sent messengers to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who was living at Heshbon. And they said to him, Permit me to cross through your land as far as the river. But he, too, despising the words of Israel, would not permit him to cross through his borders. Instead, gathering an innumerable multitude, he went out against him at Jahaz and resisted strongly. But the Lord delivered him with his entire army into the hands of Israel. And he struck him down, and he possessed all the land of the Amorite, the inhabitant of that region, with all its parts, from the Arnon as far as the Jabbok, and from the wilderness even to the Jordan. Therefore, it was the Lord, the Skytis of Israel, who overthrew the Amorites by means of his people Israel fighting against them. And now you wish to possess his land? Are there not things that your Skytis Chemosh possesses owed to you by right? And so, what the Lord our Skytis has obtained by victory falls to us as a possession. Or are you, perhaps, better than Balak, the son of Zippor, the king of Moab? Or are you able to explain what his argument was against Israel and why he fought against them? And though he has lived in Heshbon and its villages, and in Aroah and its villages, and in all the cities near the Jordan for 300 years, why have you, for such a long time, put forward nothing about this claim? Therefore, I am not sinning against you, but you are doing evil against me by declaring an unjust war against me. May the Lord be the judge and the arbiter this day between Israel and the sons of Ammon. Well, that is a fucking loaded message to deliver. Holy shit.
Kind of do be.
The only thing I'm getting out of it is that Israel is kind of a dick, basically.
It seems legit.
Israel is basically, they were repressed at Egypt, and then they left Egypt and tried to go to the promised land, which they were supposed to be just claiming, and then they tried to go through various other regions, but nobody would permit them passage. So eventually they just, okay, well, if you don't let us pass, we'll just fucking kill you. And then people got upset, and now they're like, well, fuck you, you didn't let us pass. And that's why they are now having a war between the sons of Ammon. But the king of the sons of Ammon was not willing to agree to the words of Noef Jeff. That he commissioned by the messengers. And therefore the spirit of the Lord rested upon Noef Jeff, and circling around Gilead and Manasseh, and also Mizpah of Gilead, and crossing from there to the sons of Ammon, he made a vow to the Lord, saying, If you will deliver the sons of Ammon into my hands, whoever will be the first to depart from the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the sons of Ammon, the same will I offer as a holocaust to the Lord. Wait, what? Hold. What did I just read?
Yes.
He says to the Lord, basically, if you help me in killing the sons of Ammon, whoever is the first to leave my house, to depart from the doors of my house to meet me. Oh, so basically he's saying, I will sacrifice whoever of my family if you help me.
I think the house is a metaphor for the lands, basically. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's a small sacrifice. I would sacrifice one of my folk if you let me, if you help me take over this enemy army. I mean, that seems like quite a scam offer. But yeah, the same will I offer as a holocaust. So I guess here have whoever's the first one to leave. It's like the fucking Mr. Beast challenge. Everybody has to stay in the village. The first one to leave gets offered as a holocaust to the Lord. And Noef crossed to the sons of Ammon so that he might fight against them. And the Lord delivered them into his hands, and he struck them down from Aroer as far as the entrance to Minnith, 20 cities, and as far as Abel, which is covered with vineyards, in an exceedingly great slaughter. And the sons of Ammon were humbled by the sons of Israel. Okay, so first of all, we have a city named Abel. Interesting.
But it's not able, though.
Yeah, and also...
You're not able to go in it.
Just the sons of Ammon are humbled by having their cities taken over and their people being slaughtered.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job, or we just suck.
Yeah, that's I find it very humbling if my armies are being fucking slain. That is, how humbling.
Yeah.
But when Noef returned to Mizpah, to his own house, his only daughter met him with timbrels and dances, for he had no other children. Oh, really? His only daughter? And then he has no other children. Wow, what a surprise. Well, I guess he could have had sons. And upon seeing her, he tore his garments and he said, "Alas, my daughter, you have cheated me, and you yourself have been cheated. For I opened my mouth to the Lord, and I can do nothing else." So apparently he's going to sacrifice one of his family, not just of his tribe. And she answered him, "My daddy, if you have opened your mouth to the Lord, do to me what you have promised, since victory has been granted to you, as well as vengeance against our enemies."
I don't like where this is going.
And she said to her daddy, "Grant me this one thing which I request.
Oh.
Permit me that I may wander the hillsides for 2 months, and that I may mourn my virginity with my companion." Wait, what? And he answered her, "Go." And he released her for 2 months. And when she had departed with her friends and companions, she wept over her with virginity in the hillsides. What? So basically he comes home, and then he's like, "My daughter, I made a big mistake. I offered you so we can take the enemy's army, so I'm gonna have to kill you." And then she's like, "Okay, but give me 2 more months so I can cry over the fact that I die as a virgin." I think that's what this is. We'll share it with the class.
I don't like where this is going.
There we go. And when the 2 months expired, she returned to her daddy, and he did to her just as he had vowed, though she knew no man. From this, the custom grew up in Israel, and the practice has been preserved, such that, after each year passes, the daughters of Israel convene as one, and they lament the daughter of Noef the Gileadite for 4 days. Is that still a thing? That sounds like it would be a holiday these days, right?
Sounds like it, yes.
Mourning the daughter, who, by the way, doesn't even have a name, right? Or did I miss it?
No, it said it in the beginning, I think.
Is it Beninging?
Mizpah.
No, Mizpah.
Okay. Back to Genesis.
Mizpah is a region. He returned to Mizpah.
Okay.
That's like where he lives, to his own house.
Okay. Okay, then she has no name, I guess.
Yeah, she's just not important enough. But she gets her own celebration each year, but or lament, whatever. But yeah.
I was about to say she gets more lines than some people that pretty much die instantly after giving birth to some other kid.
Just Bible things, TM.
Yeah.
Yes, redirect notice, thanks. Yes, we have in fact 12 judges. Judges 12. And behold, a sedition rose up in Ephraim. Then, while passing toward the north, they said to Noef, "When you were going to fight against the sons of Ammon, why were you unwilling to summon us so that we might go with you? Therefore, we will burn down your house."
That's a bit fucking over enthusiastic.
Wait, you went to war without us? Well, fuck you, we'll just burn down your house. What the fuck? Why?
The Bible is really fucking squeezing out all their fucking punches. That's fucking.
And he answered them, I and my people were in a great conflict against the sons of Ammon, and I called you so that you might offer assistance to me. And you were not willing to do so. And discerning this, I put my life in my own hands, and I crossed to the sons of Ammon, and the Lord delivered them into my hands. What am I guilty of, that you would rise up in battle against me? And so, calling to himself all the men of Gilead, he fought against Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck down Ephraim, because he had said, Gilead is a fugitive from Ephraim, and he lives in the midst of Ephraim and Manasseh. And the Gileadites occupied the fords of the Jordan, along which Ephraim was to return. And when anyone from the number of Ephraim had arrived, fleeing, and had said, I beg that you permit me to pass, the Gileadites would say to him, could you be an Ephraimite? And if he said, I am not, they would ask him, wait, what? They would ask him, then say Shibboleth, which is translated as ear of grain. But he would answer Sibboleth, not being able to express the word for an ear of grain in the same letters. And immediately apprehending him, they would cut his throat at the same crossing point of the Jordan. So Ephraim is upset because he wasn't allowed to join in battle, and then he basically said, well, I asked for your help and you didn't come. And then they had a fucking battle, and then they decided, you know what, if any Ephraimites try to cross here, we will just ask them, are you an Ephraimite? If they say no, they'll basically do the test, say Shibboleth. And if they're like, Shibboleth, oh, well, you don't speak our language, you fucking die. It's like, it's like fucking...
It's a bit fucking...
It's like the equivalent of an ancient tongue twister, just testing them. And immediately apprehending him, they would cut his throat at the same crossing point of the Jordan. And in that time of Ephraim, 42,000 fell. Why are they still going there if they just all get fucking killed? Oh yeah, he died. I guess I'll try my luck. I'm surely gonna be able to fucking troll them.
Yeah. The problem is they don't know about the test, so nobody's gonna be able to tell them how to do it right.
Oh, 10,000 men have already gone there, and none of them have returned. You know what? Let me just investigate all by myself. What could possibly go wrong?
Seems legit.
Yeah.
And so, Jeff, the Gileadite, judged Israel for 6 years. And he died, and he was buried in his city in Gilead. After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons and the same number of daughters, whom he sent away to be given to husbands. And he accepted wives for his sons of the same number, bringing them into his house. And he judged Israel for 7 years.
And he died.
And he died. Of course he died. And he was buried in Bethlehem. After him succeeded Elon, a Zebulonite. And he judged Israel for 10 years. And he died. And he was buried in Zebulun. After him, Abdon, the son of Hillel, a Pirathonite, judged Israel. And he had 40 sons, and from them 30 grandsons, all riding upon 70 young donkeys. And he judged Israel for 8 years. And guess what? He died! And he was buried at Pirathon, in the land of Ephraim, on the mountain of Amalek.
Just a second. Did he have 40 sons and 40 grandsons before he took the throne, or during his time?
Wait.
As he judged Israel. I mean, if
he had, I guess, just in total, like, by the time he died, that's how many offspring he produced. Okay. So I guess over the years, basically. But it's not entirely clear. Yes, I enjoy. Judges 13. And again, the sons of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. No shit! They really did that again. Who could have seen this coming? And he delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. Now there was a certain man from Zorah and of the stock of Dan, whose name was Manoah, having a barren wife. And an angel of the Lord appeared to her, and he said, You are barren and without children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Therefore, take care that you do not drink wine or strong drink, neither shall you eat anything unclean. For you shall conceive and bear a son whose head no razor shall touch. Which had always...
That's a very valid question.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my... Like, actually, does not having your hair shaved off mean that you're a person of power, or does it just mean he's just gonna be uncircumcised? For he shall be a Nazarite of Skytus. Wait, wasn't it Jesus of Nazareth? Are we there? Is it happening? Are we there yet?
I think we've got a while to go.
Wait, but that means that Jesus was not circumcised. Or, I mean, it might be different, but it's said that he should not be circumcised, apparently. For he shall be a Nazarite of Skytus, from his infancy and from his mother's womb. And he shall begin to free Israel from the hand of the Philistines. And when she had gone to her husband, she said to him, A man of Skytus came to me, having the countenance of an angel, exceedingly terrible. And when I had inquired of him who he was, and where he was from, and what name he was called, he was not willing to tell me. But he responded, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. Take care that you do not drink wine or strong drink, and you shall not consume anything unclean, for the boy shall be a Nazarite of Skytus, from his infancy, from his mother's womb, even until the day of his death with one F.
Same.
Relatable. And so Manoah prayed to the Lord, and he said, I beg you, Lord, that the man of Skytus whom you send may come again, and may teach us what we ought to do about the boy who is to be born. And the Lord heeded the prayer of Manoah, and the angel of the Lord appeared again to his wife sitting in a field. But her husband Manoah was not with her. And when she had seen the angel, she hurried and ran to her husband, and she reported to him, saying, God damn it, Behold, the man appeared to me, whom I had seen before. And he rose up, and he followed his wife. And going to the man, he said, Are you the one who spoke to my wife? And he responded, I am. And Manoah said,
punch him in the face.
and Manoah said to him, You fucking slut, you cheated on me. And Manoah said to him, When will your word be fulfilled? What do you want the boy to do? Or from what should he keep himself? And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, Concerning all the things about which I have spoken to your wife, she herself should abstain. And let her eat nothing from the vine. She may not drink wine or strong drink. She may consume nothing unclean. And let her observe and keep what I have instructed to her. AKA, he's literally just repeating the same words, just regurgitating the same shit. Thanks. And Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, I beg you to agree to my petition and to let us prepare a kid from the goats. Wait, what? And the angel answered him, Even if you compel me, I will not eat from your bread. But if you are willing to offer a holocaust, offer it to the Lord. And Manoah did not know that he was an angel of the Lord. And he said to him, What is your name? So that, if your word is fulfilled, we may honor you. And he answered him, Why do you ask my name, which is a wonder? And so Manoah took a kid from the goats and libations, and he placed them upon a rock as an offering to the Lord who accomplishes wonders. Then he and his wife watched. And when the flames of the altar ascended to heaven, the anger of the Lord ascended in the flame. And when Manoah and his wife had seen this, they fell prone on the ground. And the angel of the Lord no longer appeared to them. And immediately Manoah understood him to be an angel of the Lord. And he said to his wife, We shall certainly die, since we have seen Skytus.
Yes, same.
And his wife answered him, If the Lord wished to kill us, he would not have accepted the holocaust and the libations from our hands. He would not have revealed all these things to us, nor would he have told us the things that are in the future. And so she bore a son, and she called him Samson. And the boy grew up, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to be with him in the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. Yes, Samson. Who hasn't heard of him? Me. I'll be right back. So this is basically pre-Jesus Jesus.
Yes, same.
He's like the OG savior. Well, I guess the OG savior was Osmosis.
Yes.
We shall once again make sure that Terrace is doing his job. He, in fact, is doing his duty. We are not judging him. Judges 14. Then Samson descended to Timnah, and seeing there a woman from the daughters of the Philistines, he went up and he told his daddy and his mother, saying, I saw a woman in Timnah from the daughters of the Philistines. I ask that you take her to me as a wife. What a fucking entitled kid. I saw a hot lady. I want her. What? And his daddy and mother said to him, Is there not a young woman among the daughters of your brothers, or among all my people, so that you would be willing to take a wife from the Philistines who are uncircumcised? Wait, what? Hold. Is there not a woman among the daughters, blah, blah, so that you would be willing to... I feel like I'm not under this... So you are willing to... Oh, okay, wait, yeah. So basically, we don't have any women among our tribe that are good enough for you. So you want a Philistine woman, and the Philistine women are uncircumcised.
What a shame.
Hey, Terrace.
No mutilation today.
Yes.
Remember when the Bible said that all women had to be circumcised?
Yeah, of course. It keeps happening like over and over again.
Yeah, same. So why does it fucking matter that the Philistine women are uncircumcised? All the women are. Only the men have to be uncircumcised.
Apparently not.
Yeah, well, apparently the Bible is just a piece of shit book that's poorly written. and Samson said to his daddy, Take this woman to me, for she has pleased my eyes. She just walked up to him and rubbed his eyes real good. He's like, yes, I enjoy. You pleased my eyes. Now his parents did not know that the matter was done by the Lord, and that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. By that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. And so Samson descended with his daddy and mother to Timnah, and when they had arrived at the vineyards of the town, he saw a young lion, savage and roaring, and it met him. Of course, apparently there were lions back then. Well, now we know. Then the spirit of the Lord rushed upon Samson, and he tore apart the lion. Of course, he was the OG Doomslayer, apparently. Like a young goat being torn into pieces. Yes, I've seen plenty of young goats being torn into pieces, having nothing at all in his hand. He's literally fucking Doomslayer. What the fuck? Just...
Yeah, same.
Or Doomguy, or whatever he's called. And he was not willing to reveal to his daddy, and he was not willing to reveal this to his daddy and mother. So he just went out and it's like, oh, lion! Tear it apart, and then he doesn't tell his parents.
How the fuck did he not tell them? They were literally standing right next to him. They're saying...
No,
so
they probably asked him...
his daddy and mother, and then...
They probably asked him, like, hey, what the fuck did you just... What, son? And he was like, what are you talking about? Are you going insane, you old people? Are you fucking delirious? And they're like, son,
magic.
There's a lion torn apart. We saw you do it. And he's like, nope, you're delirious. Shut up. Nope.
Nope, wasn't me.
And he went down and spoke to the woman, who pleased his eyes. And after some days returning to marry her, he turned aside so that he might see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees in the mouth of the lion with a honeycomb. And when he had taken it in his hands, he ate it along the way. Important information, I'm sure. And arriving to his daddy and mother, he gave them a portion, and they also ate it. Yet he was not willing to reveal to them that he had taken the honey from the body of the lion. And so his daddy went down to the woman, and he made a feastonian for his son Samson. For so the young men were accustomed to do. What does it matter that he took the honey from the lion? Like, what does the lion matter at all? What the hell? Just... What? He's just lying there. And when the citizens of that place had seen him, they presented to him 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said to them, I will propose to you a problem, which, if you can solve it for me within 7 days of the Feastonian, I will give you 30 shirts and the same number of tunics. But if you're not able to solve it, you shall give me 30 shirts and the same number of tunics. Wait, what? So the citizens presented companions. And then he's like, I have a riddle for you. If you can solve it, you get shirts. Otherwise, I get shirts and tunics. And they
must really like shirts.
And they answered him, propose the problem so that we may hear it. And he said to them, food went forth from that which eats, and sweetness went forth from that which is strong. And they were unable to solve the proposition for 3 days. And when the 7th day had arrived, they said to the wife of Samson, coax your husband and persuade him to reveal to you what the proposition means. But if you are not willing to do so, we will burn you and your daddy's house. Or have you called us to the wedding in order to despoil us? So he gave them a riddle. Food went forth from that which eats, and sweetness went forth from that which is strong. That's probably related to the lion, I guess?
Yes, of course it's related to the lion. What else?
And they weren't able to solve it for 3 days. And then the other 4 days we just ignore, we just like plot hole. And then on the 7th day, they talk to his soon-to-be wife or now wife, and she's like, tell your husband to give us the solution or we will fucking burn you. They really need to know how this riddle works. They really gotta know.
Nice.
And she shed tears before Samson, and she complained, saying, you hate me, and you do not love me. That is why you do not want to explain to me the problem which you have proposed to the sons of my people. But he responded, I was not willing to reveal it to my daddy and mother. And so, how can I reveal it to you? Therefore, she wept before him during the 7 days of the Feastonian. But during the 7 days, but I thought after the 7 days, they were like, hey, give us the solution. And then she's like, well, give me the solution. So now she's weeping during the days because she already knew that he's not going to tell her, so she proactively wept?
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And at length on the 7th day, since she had been troubling him, he explained it. And immediately she revealed it to her countrymen. And they, on the 7th day, before the sun declined, said to him, what is sweeter than horny? And what is stronger than a lion?
That's great.
I was expecting a riddle like the towel riddle. I guess does it work the same in German? You know which one I'm talking about, right, Denaxor? Was wird nasser, wenn es trocknet? I was expecting something along those lines. He does not understand. That's okay.
Denaxor.exe stopped responding.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't know that riddle, so.
Was wird nasser, wenn es trocknet?
Keine Ahnung.
Okay, du hast 7 Tage. Handtuch. Denk drüber nach. Anyways, moving on. Where were we? And he said to them, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have uncovered my proposition. And so the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and he descended to Ashkelon. And at that place, he struck down 30 men, and taking away their garments, he gave them to those who had solved the problem. And being exceedingly angry, he went up to his daddy's house. Then his wife took as a husband one of his friends and wedding companions. Wait, what? Okay, same. So they didn't solve it. And then on the 7th day, he gives the solution to his wife. And then his wife immediately spoils the solution to her countrymen. And then he's like, well, if you didn't get the solution from her, you wouldn't have figured it out. And then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. So basically, then he got angry, he went to Ashkelon and killed 30 men and took their garments. Because, well, he would have gotten the shirts anyway. And he gave them to those who had solved the problem.
Yes.
Who had solved the problem? What? So he was angry and he's like, you wouldn't have solved this if I hadn't told my wife. But then he still went ahead, killed 30 men, and gave them the shirts because he lost. So he had to give them 30 shirts or garments or whatever. And then he was very angry, went to his daddy's house, and then his wife took as a husband one of his friends. So that his wife cheated on him.
So he basically got cucked on his wedding. What the fuck?
He just got fucked in every conceivable regard. He finally gave in to his wife's nagging, immediately lost the bet because of that. Then he was a good sport, and still he kept his word and gave them the garments, and then his wife cheated on him.
She basically ran away with the shirts and tunics.
What? Just what?
Yes, same.
Oh, hello, welcome back, Terrace.
What?
I know that you weren't paying attention. Don't pretend. I can tell. I got my eyes on the class. I know one of you is paying very close attention, and the other one is not paying any attention whatsoever.
Yes.
Well, if you want to know if I'm paying attention, then just say one of the drinking phrases and watch me drink.
That's different. That's a Pavlovian response. Judges 15. And the Lord said to Osmosis.
I literally just drank.
Judges 15. Then, after some time, when the days of wheat harvest were near, Samson arrived, intending to visit his wife, and he brought her a kid from the goats. And when he wanted to enter to her bedroom, as usual, her daddy prohibited him, saying, I thought that you would hate her, and therefore I gave her to your friend. But she has a sister who is younger and more beautiful than she is, and she may be a wife for you instead of her. Wait, so he lost the bet, and then her father gave her to another man. So she didn't cheat on him. She just, her father just decided, you know what, I'm going to give her to someone else, even though he kept his word. He just got fucked over so hard. And then he went to her bedroom, or tried to go to her bedroom, but the daddy was like, I thought you hate her because and so I gave her to someone else because she spoiled it. Like, they're making so many assumptions about him. He's being such a good-hearted, kind person, and they're just assuming, he hates us all anyway, whatever, just... What
Brilliant.
the fuck? And Samson answered him, From this day there shall be no guilt for me against Philistines, for I will do harm to you all. From this day there shall be no guilt for me against Philistines, for I will do harm to you all.
So basically saying, fuck not just them in particular, but everyone.
I think this means I will fuck you over big time, but I'm innocent because you fucked me over first, so this is just... I'm just getting my revenge, and then we're even. I think that's what he's trying to say. And he went out and caught 300 foxes. Terrace, would you like to explain what a fox is?
I'll just send them a screenshot of some of the things we've replaced, and then he can.
Or do that.
Yeah.
Then you.
Then he can figure it out.
The one thing I'm getting at is that someone basically said, I'm not racist, I'm killing everyone.
Samson is not racist. He's just a cuckold.
There you go, Denaxor. Here's not all, but most of the things that we've find in their place on.
Maybe
that sounds like a fucking quote for a t-shirt, if you ask me. 300 for foxes.
That is a pretty good one, actually. You know what? We'll just... There we go. Anyways, yeah, you'll figure out what a fox is. Good, have fun. And he joined them tail to tail. So he's just torturing animals. And he tied torches between the tails. And setting these on fire, he released them, so that they might rush from place to place. And immediately they went into the grain fields of the Philistines, setting these on fire, both the grain that was already bound for carrying and what was still standing on the stalk. These were completely burned up, so much so that the flames also consumed even the vineyards and the olive groves. Okay, so took the foxes, put a torch on each one's tail, and then tied them together tail by tail. So basically, 2 Focoxes and then a torch in between. And then he just set them loose, and they just rushed into the fields.
Beyblade.
What? Yes.
I'm just imagining them running in opposite directions, just spinning. After you run, it's just like it's like a dog chasing his tail. It's just like spinning, but also moving in a specific direction.
Why would you take Focoxes and just... This is like a fucking 4chan move. And the Philistines said, "Who has done this thing?" And it was said, "Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he took away his wife and gave her to another. He has done these things." And the Philistines went up and burned the woman as well as her daddy. Reasonable.
Yes.
And Samson said to them, "Even though you have done this, I will still fulfill vengeance against you, and then I will be quieted." So basically, yeah, you burned my wife, who I don't care about, and her father, who I don't care about, but I will continue my vengeance until I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Duh? And he struck
That's
them with
not
a
enough.
tremendous slaughter, so much so that out of astonishment they laid the calf of the leg upon the thigh.
Take your time.
They laid the calf of the leg upon the thigh. Translate, Terrace?
Yes.
The calf of the leg.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's just a leg-shaped calf. What the fuck? And descending, he lived in a cave at the rock of Etam. And so the Philistines, ascending into the land of Judah, made camp at the place which was later called Lehi, that is, the jawbone, where their army spread out. And some from the tribe of Judah said to them, "Why have you ascended against us?" And they responded, "We have come to bind Samson and to repay him for what he has done to us." Then 3,000 men of Judah descended into the cave of the rock at Etam. And they said to Samson, "Do you not know that the Philistines rule over us? Why would you want to do this?" And he said to them, "As they have done to me, so have I done to them." And they said to him, "We have come to bind you and to deliver you into the hands of the Philistines." And Samson said to them, "Swear and promise to me that you will not kill me." They said, "We will not kill you, but we will deliver you tied." And they bound him with 2 new cords. Yes, they're not old cords, they're new. Very important. Because if they were old, they would be old. A very important detail. I'm sure that will come into play later. And they took him from the rock at Etam. Etam, but I hardly know him. And when he had arrived at the place of the jawbone, and the Philistines, shouting aloud, had met him, the spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. And just as flax is usually consumed by a hint of fire, so were the ties which he was bound and broken. So were the ties with which he was bound, broken, and released. Why does it matter that they were new then, if he just breaks free anyways? And finding a jawbone which was laying there, that is the jawbone of a donkey, snatching it up, he put to death, with 1 F, 1,000 men with it. Ah, yes, of course. A singular person just grabs a fucking jaw and kills 1,000 men with it.
That sounds like John Wick killing 2 persons with one.
What the fuck? And he said, "With the jawbone of a donkey, with the jaw of the colt of a donkey, I have destroyed them, and I have struck down 1,000 men." And when he had completed these words, singing, with the jawbone of a donkey, with the jaw of the colt of a donkey, I have destroyed them, I have struck down 1,000 men. And when he had completed these words, singing, he threw the jawbone from his hand. And he called the name of that place Ramath Lehi, which is translated as the elevation of the jawbone. What a jaw-dropping name. And being very thirsty, he cried out to the Lord, and he said, "You have given to the hand of your servant this very great salvation and victory. But see that I am dying of thirst, and so will I fall into the hands of the uncircumcised." And so the Lord opened a large toothpick and stuck it into his...
Excuse me.
You don't remember? Put a few toothpicks in it for good measure?
Wow.
And so the Lord opened a large tooth in the jawbone of the donkey, and water went out from it. Ah, of course. Yes, water from the tooth. My favorite water. And having drank it,
Juice.
his spirit was revived, and he recovered his strength. For this reason, the name of that place was called the spring called forth from the jawbone, even to the present day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistine for 20 years. What the fuck? Bless you. Health is the back of muscly protrusion of the tower of the lower leg. Wait, what? I am even more confused. I thought a calf was the offspring of a cow, a young offspring. I really like how your camera can't decide whether to blur the syrup bottles in the background or not.
It's called syrup, not syrup.
Well, fuck you.
You're a fucking syrup.
Yeah, well, maybe your mom.
Yes, same.
I need a refill. And I need it badly, because... Oh boy. Denaxor!
Yes.
Share some fun facts, entertain the people. Good luck. You're on your own. I'm out.
Entertain the people, yeah. I'm still amazed how he basically turned into John Wick by the half of the, of the chapter.
That was pretty impressive, to be fair.
Yeah. That makes me wonder, was that the inspiration for John Wick, or is it the other way around? Basically a little bit of overkill as well on some side, but who cares? Yeah, basically I got caught by my wife, now I'm gonna murder 300,000 people.
Fair, that's quite impressive, if you ask me.
I need a refill as well.
Well, I'm gonna go taking a very angry piss then. Whilst
so we're just gonna leave the stream empty? What the fuck?
Yeah, fuck it.
Nice. No, I can't do that. I could say some unpleasant word while Skeltus is gone, but not gonna do that as well. I can play guitar. That's able to be heard. I don't know. Let's see. Nope. Here we go.
That's okay, guys. I'm back. Oh shit! He's got an instrument. Watch out! He's armed and dangerous.
That was but.
Go on, play something.
It's a little bit weird with the cutoff from the mic, so I don't know if it works. I don't know.
Oh no, he's back.
Someone's back.
I like what I see when I look at my chat. First time chat from Thirsty and Moist.
I mean that is one hell of a name.
Yeah, that is. You know what? That name, sure, Ezekiel 2320. You know what? Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't listen Hold on, where is it? Well, sure, we'll just take whatever version. Okay, spoiler. There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys and whose emission was like that of horse. If you had sent this to me, Terrace, I would be responding with the wise emoji right now. Just that is just. Where is Ezekiel? How far into the future is I don't.
Hold on, I even got a document open. Hold on.
You're welcome. You got special treatment. We did. I can't speak Holy shit. We did spoiling. Holy fuck, that's the word. We did spoilers for the first time.
Oh, we're quite a while away. It's like 2/3 into the Old Testament.
Oh shit. Well,
So far.
We're not even. We're like barely a quarter through it. So
yeah, I was about to say we're probably at around 25% of the Old Testament. You want to know why it's called Testament? Because it fucking tests you. This is a test of patience and endurance. Anyways, yeah, welcome to the most amazing Bible reading you'll ever encounter in your life.
Yes.
Anyways, Judges 16. Let's see. All right. Looking good. Good job, Terrace.
that's just what I do.
Judges 16. He also went into Gaza, and there he saw a harlot woman, and he entered to her. And when the Philistines had heard of this, it had become well known among them that Samson had entered the city. They surrounded him, placing guards at the gate of the city. And there they were keeping watch all night in silence, so that in the morning they might kill him as he was going out. But Samson slept until the middle of the night, and rising up from there, he took both doors from the gate with their posts and bars. Wait, what? What? Hell? But Samson slept until the middle of the night, and rising up from there, he took both doors from the gate with their posts and bars. He's
So
just
basically disassembled the gates.
yeah. Hold. So they heard that he's there with the harlot woman. Nice upvote you got there. It's not in focus. It's completely blurred. I can't read. I think there's text below. I can't fucking tell. I think you need to hide your face because it
Fucking bright
autofocuses
as
on
hell.
your face. Or maybe just put it in front of you, right in front of your face, like close to you.
Hold on.
Or turn off all. Ah, yes. Okay, I understand. I looked over on Discord. It makes no sense on Discord, but I get it now. I didn't know you two were together.
I got a put there. Might as well use it for things.
Okay, so they
Alright,
hear
you're never
that
gonna join again.
so they hear that he's there and he's having sex with a prostitute, or the equivalent of it, whatever. And then they're like, all right, we'll surround the city and we'll put guards at the gate, and then we'll just wait. And in the morning, we'll just kill him when he leaves. But he's sleeping until the middle of the night and then gets up. And he just takes both doors from the gate. And they don't notice that he's just there disassembling the literal gate they're guarding. Just, what the fuck?
Fuck it, that's some MacGyver level shit.
It's not like he's not just taking the doors with their posts and bars. So he's just disassembling the entire fucking gate.
He's literally fucking going for it.
Yeah, and laying them upon his shoulders. How small of a gate is this? With their posts and bars.
Maybe he's just very strong.
I'm just imagining, like, he just takes the gates and put it on his shoulders, and then he just walks out of the city. Don't mind me, I'm just a gate. Nothing to see here. Like
Nothing to see here.
Like fucking Solid Snake in a cardboard box, just walking out. Nope, I'm a gate. Don't look. What is this? And laying them on his shoulders, he carried them to the top of the hill that looks toward Hebron. And how does he get out of the city? He just went fucking Solid Snake on them.
What gate?
And what the fuck?
That is actually brilliant.
After these things, he loved a woman who was living in the valley of Sorek, and she was called Delilah. And the leaders of the Philistines went to her, and they said, "Deceive him and learn from him wherein lies his great strength and how we may be able to overcome him and to impose restraints on him. And if you will do this, each one of us will give you 1,100 silver coins. That sounds like a compelling offer. I mean, I don't know how many there were, but 1,100 times 100 or even more? Yeah. And therefore, Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me, I beg you, wherein lies your very great strength, and with what might you be bound?" Not suspicious at all. No. How are you so strong?
If she's into some BDSM shit, I don't know.
And like, hypothetically, if somebody wanted to kill you, how would he best go about it? I'm not trying to kill you, just hypothetically, if somebody wanted
Asking
to kill
for a friend.
Hey, it's me, your brother. How do I kill you? This is so shit. This is so bad. How did anyone write this and think? Yeah, that goes into this. Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
And with what might you be bound so that you could not break free? And Samson answered her, "If I will be bound with 7 cords made of sinews, not yet dry but still damp, I will be weak like other men." Yeah, okay, Denaxor, I'm sorry for doubting you. This is literally BDSM shit. You are so right.
Yes.
What the fuck? And the princess of the Philistines brought her 7 cords, such as he had described, and she bound him with these. And so those hiding in ambush with her in the bedroom were expecting the end of the matter. And she cried out to him, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." Is that like their safe word? And he broke the cords as one would break a thread of flax, twisted for cutting and singed by fire.
Kinky.
And so it was not known wherein lay his strength. And Delilah said to him, "Behold, you have mocked me, and you have spoken of falsehood. But at least Tonian now, tell me with what you may be bound." And he answered her, "If I will be bound with new cords which have never been used, I will be weak like other men, and like other men." Again, Delilah tied him with these, and she cried out, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson."
Is it basically just right after he just did it? and
She's like,
there was
"I
nothing
didn't
there?"
try to deceive you, but if somebody were to tie you down so the Philistines could kill you, how would I go about doing this?" And then he's like, "Well, if you do this," and then she's like, "The Philistines are upon you." What the fuck? Oh,
So basically, the safe word is "the Philistines are upon you, Samson." Okay, I get it.
what the fuck? Again, and she cried, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." For an ambush had been prepared in the bedroom, but he broke the bindings like the filaments of a web. And Delilah spoke to him again, "How long will you deceive me and tell me falsehoods? Reveal me what you ought to be bound. With what you ought to be bound." And Samson responded to her, "If you weave the 7 locks of my head with a loom, and if you tie these around a spike and fix it to the ground, I will be weak." Dude, he's into some kinky shit.
It's better than 50 Shades of Grey.
And when Delilah had done this, she said to him, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." And arising from sleep, he withdrew the spike with the hairs and the weaving. And Delilah said to him, "How can you say that you love me when your soul is not with me? You have lied to me on 3 occasions, and you are not willing to reveal wherein lies your very great strength." And when she had been very troublesome to him, and over many days had continually stayed nearby, giving him no time to rest, his soul was faint, and he was weary, even unto death with 1 F. What? What? Okay, let me just recap. Am I understanding this correctly? She asked him, "What's your weakness?" He's like, "Okay, type it down like this." And then she's like, "Oh no, you're being attacked." And then he just breaks free. And then she's like, "You lied to me. Now tell me, what's your real weakness?" He tells her again. Same thing happens. He breaks free. And then the same thing happens again. And then after the 3rd time, she just asks him again, what's your strength? What's your weakness? And how do you get your strength? He doesn't respond. And he didn't have enough sleep the past few nights, so he just dies. What the fuck? This is so...
Thanks, Michael. Very cool.
Maybe.
Thanks, Darius.
You're welcome.
I hope you actually added this permanently. I enjoy it. This is... So he just breaks free effortlessly, and then he breaks free again, and then he breaks free again, and then he just dies of lack of sleep. Because even he's being awoken, so he had some sleep. It's not like he had no sleep, he had some sleep, but he's so weak that he just dies.
Wonderful.
Then, disclosing the truth of the matter, he said to her, "Iron has never been drawn across my head, for I am a Nazarite." So, I just realized I misread this the entire time. Holy shit! For I am a Nazi-rite. That is, I have been concentrated to my... How did it take me this long to realize? Holy shit! Well, I guess we're about to find out who the real villain is. I really wonder who could be the villain in this story. For I am a Nazi-rite. That is, I have been consecrated to Skytis from my mother's womb. If my head will be shaven, my strength will depart from me. And I will faint, and I will be like other men. Okay, so in summary, because he's been consecrated to Skytis from his mother's womb, he's just had this inhuman strength, and yeah, it's just called strength. But if somebody shaves his hair, he's just weak.
It's basically like the Disney film Rapunzel.
That is the most cringe kryptonite I've ever heard of. In fact, I will put that as a comment right here. That is the most cringe. I think it's with a K, kryptonite I've ever heard of. The fuck? There's so much thumbnail material. Please don't shave my hair. It gives me strength. Something like that. What the
One Punch Man, the opposite.
I'm not into anime, but I'm sure Denaxor approves.
Yes.
And then, seeing that he had confessed to her his whole soul, she sent to the leaders of the Philistines and ordered, "Come up just once more, for now he has opened his heart to me." They went up, and taking with them the money that they had promised. But she made him sleep upon her knees, and recline his head upon her bosom. And she called a barber, and he shaved his 7 locks of hair. He only had 7 locks of hair?
Oddly fucking specific.
And she began to push him away, and to repel him from herself. But immediately his strength departed from him. And she said, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson!" And awakening from his sleep, he said in his mind, "I will break away and shake myself free, just as I did before." For he did not know that the Lord had withdrawn from him. When the Philistines had seized him, they immediately plucked out his eyes. What?
And it's a bit harsh.
And they led him, bound in chains, to Gaza. And enclosing him in a prison, they made him work a millstone. And now his hair began to grow back. I have a feeling I have a hunch where this is going. And the leaders of the Philistines convened as one, so that they might offer great sacrifices to Dagon, their Skytis. And they Fistonianed, saying, "Our Skytis has delivered our enemy, Samson, into our hands." Hey, Terrace. This has been a little bit of a dry streak, hasn't it?
Yes.
How about every time something is repeated more than 3 times, just because somebody's a fucking retard, you drink?
Sounds great.
Alright, that also applies retroactively, so...
I have to grab something.
My condolences, Denaxor. I feel so bad for you.
I'm just chugged the bottle.
Be right back.
Just among the two of us, Terrace, I'm still upset that our guest ditched us. I'm so happy that Denaxor is on for this session, because this session is fucking juicy. I'm hoping that he gets a real good picture and he's more willing to come back in the future. Because he's one of the... I'm gonna say, subjectively, he's one of the better guests. He's paying attention. He's commenting. I like him. Can we keep him?
Only if you feed them.
Oh, trust me, I'll feed him. Yeah, well, anyways, just like I was just about to say, like, how can you be this dumb? And then I realized the Bible is written for idiots, but back then everybody was an idiot. So everybody, imagine you with your current brain, like with your intellect or lack thereof, rather, I guess in your case, you could go back to Bible times. I guess they're just not used to liars. That's really it. They just don't know what a liar is. Like, you could just go there and be like, the Lord has spoken to me. You have to kill yourself, or he will burn you and you'll die. And then everybody will just...
The Lord has spoken. You have to give me all of your money.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and they would be like, oh, he's the chosen one. Quick, go to my vault and get the money. And then because you didn't phrase it correctly, everybody just throws their money at you and you just die from like the equivalent of being stoned. You just get money to death.
Money. You get shackled.
What did I miss?
Nothing. We were just talking shit about you and how terrible of a guest you are.
Wow.
Figures.
Please do not check the vault, for this is entirely accurate and I would not lie. For this is a Christian Minecraft server.
Well, you're right about one thing.
That's a question, yes.
Okay, alright, and then the Phistonian, our Lord, has delivered our enemy Samson into our hands. Yay! And then, too, the people, seeing this, praised their Skytis, and they said the same. Our Skytis has delivered our adversary into our hands. The one who destroyed our land, who killed very many. And rejoicing in their celebration, having now taken food, they instructed that Samson be called and that he be mocked before them. And having been brought from prison, he was mocked before them. Wow, who could have seen that one coming? And they caused him to stand between two pillars. And he said to the boy who was guiding his steps, permit me to touch the pillars which support the entire house and to lean against them so that I may rest a little. And I will totally not tip them over and destroy the entire house. Oh my fucking god. Like, how permit me to touch these pillars which support the entire house. That's not suspicious at all. No. One thing that I said to Terrace while you were gone is like, the Bible is written for idiots, but back then everybody was an idiot. Like, if you were to go back in time right now to Bible times, you could just lie to them. I guess they're just exposed to the concept of lies. You could just be like, I spoke to the Lord. You need to give me all your money, for he said that I am your new leader. And they would just be like, the Lord spoke to him.
There's literally a movie about a similar concept of the fucking, I don't know if you've watched it. I don't know, The First Lie or something? I don't know, it's called something weird.
I don't know.
Doesn't ring a bell. I know that there's oh wait, no.
It's a movie where the concept of a lie doesn't exist.
Oh yeah,
and
only one person knows and he just rules the world basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard about it.
Yeah, well, he tries to make his mother on their deathbed feel better by telling her a bunch of lies. And then everyone else just goes like, yes, he is the chosen one, and they all start worshipping him.
Okay.
You know,
and asking him like questions of what happens after death.
Fuck. Okay.
You know what we really need is a watch party for biblically accurate things. Just every other Bible reading is just cancelled and replaced with Bible media, I guess. Now the house was.
You know about the biblically accurate angels?
Yes, I've seen them. They are very
biblically accurate. Denaxor.
Yes.
I don't have a good pun. I have seen them. Get it? Now the house was full of men and women, and all the leaders of the Philistines were there, as well as about 3,000 persons of both sexes on the roof and in the upper level of the house, who were watching Samson being mocked. Then, calling upon the Lord, he said, "O Lord Skytis, remember me and restore me to my now my former strength, O my Skytis, so that I may avenge myself against my enemies, and so that I may receive one vengeance for the deprivation of my two eyes." and taking hold of both the pillars on which the house rested, and holding one with the right hand and the other one with his left, he said, "May my life die with the Philistines." And when he had shaken the pillars strongly, the house fell upon all the leaders and the rest of the multitude who were there, and he killed many more in his death, with one F, than he had killed before in his life. Then his brothers and all his relatives, going down, took his body, and they buried it between Zorah and Eshtaol, in the burying place of his daddy Manoah. And he judged Israel for 20 years.
Who did?
Okay,
First terrorist.
he
His
was
body or
what was his he judged Israel for 20 years and then he died eventually. But like this is like a summary of his life basically. He's dead now. He's been the ruler of 20 years. Okay, so Terrace has indicated that he wants to stop. However, I have some extra hours I could redeem. Do you want to keep going, Mr. Denaxor? Or would you like to stop as well?
I don't know. If you want to stop, good to go.
We can keep going. I have how much? 9, 10 hours? 10 and a half? Something like that. Hold on, I pinned it. I will check right now. I have another, where the fuck is it? 10.5. I have another 10 and a half hours we could go for. In theory, obviously we're not going to go for that much longer, but yeah. Would you like to indulge in more Bibling or not?
That's not up to me to decide, I think.
No, that is entirely up to you.
It actually is entirely up to you.
Terrace wants to stop. I'm saying I'm down for more if you're down for more. But if you're like, I don't enjoy this, I want to go home, I will respect that.
Well, I don't really enjoy it, but I'm still already
Same.
home, so I don't know what that makes.
For fuck's sake, just decide. Are we...
I think I'm done for today.
Okay, fair. All right. Well, in that case, insert image of a fountain inside. All right, we have to hold.
Hold.
We're holding.
Keep holding.
We're holding. Trust me, we're very much holding. You can do it. Well, in that case, we have to stop.
There you go. Well enough.
God, well, in that case, we're stopping.